recording from the garden. We went to a friend's house that has plants for sale. Look at this. This was my Mother's Day. Oh my gosh, I gotta clean this up a little bit. I just put her up yesterday, but this is trailing petunias. And look at this gorgeous lettuce basket. That's my hand. Look at how full it is. Isn't that gorgeous? A lettuce basket. Oh my gosh, it is the most beautiful thing. I wish you could see like how it is huge. Here's my little tomatoes. The neighbor gave those to us. And then here's all this. I gotta trim that. I'm just so excited. I can't believe that. A new friend gave it to us. Then we got all these. She grows all this. So this is arugula. These are peppers. What kind did Sean get? These are for his, what is that? Oh, ghost peppers. Oh, these are gonna be hot. Here's some lavender. Look at this. I got a mess. I gotta clean this up. Here's, this is gonna be Brussels sprouts. This is pineapple sage. This is fenugreek for your hair. I make a hair formula. This is good, like a vanilla-y flavor for when you're cooking. This is lemon verbena. This is oregano. This is sea show. There's mint and potatoes in here, chocolate mint, a lot of stuff. We'll come out here. This is, I put a post on Instagram. Here's my watering can. These are these are California poppies. Oh, look. I just bothered her. She's probably going to get mad at me. I don't blame her. But these are our California poppies. And I did a post about a lady that went to my great-great-grandmother's school in Pavilion, New York. It was the SME finishing school for girls. And I'm trying to get the records from the Richmond Memorial Library in Batavia and the Holland Land Office Museum, which they were, I tell a story on there. You could read it. I'll real quick go over. In about the 1840s, the towns, the 4 counties around the Holland Land Office, they did the purchase. And they stole, actually, all of the... Well, okay, let's not say they stole it. They say there was a fire and everything burned and there's no records before about 1850. That's convenient because people armed themselves, soldiers that had land tracts given to them for their Revolutionary War service. And they were taking them and reselling them. People were coming and buying it, just like they did with native allotments and what they did exactly to the natives. You know, they criminalized the people that live in the place with new laws, new things that they passed. They criminalize the people and what they have and what they've been doing. And then you pay to get your stuff back, if you ever do, which, I don't know. I'm from a lot of different tribes. And, I don't know how they are, but because none of them, I never filed for anything, nor would I, because I wasn't raised that way. It just, my mother was Creek, and I was raised that way, so all those other tribes don't, even though it's the coolest thing ever. Saskis is my grandpa. That's incredible. I'm so stoked with all the things I found out. But if I were to listen to this, if you look on my Instagram, I've got the conversation with this librarian that got back to me after 3 months, last about Thursday or Friday. She couldn't find too much information, and then it was too much information, and you can read those. And I've just got a book of no's of people telling me this doesn't matter, that doesn't matter. And the women in my family, plus the men, they really lived lives in service. And the stories of the Holy Family that they told, there's people that have said to me in positions of power, those are fairy tales. Well, whatever you believe, but that's coming from the Abbey at Mount Angel, fairy tales, they said. So there's a rewriting, and there's a lot of interest coming back for people to go back to church. And the churches have let us down. My grandfather worked with every church, and it was a different time back then. We went to every church on Saturdays, picked up loads of clothes, boxes of food, and delivered them across 4 counties to serve the people that needed it. His ministry of concern did everything for people, you name it. If you were a woman and needed help with your family, they came for you for that. If your husband was hurting you, if you didn't have a job, if you were a migrant, if you were disabled, couldn't get to the grocery store, we had a whole list of shut-ins that we went to. That was a thing back then. People, now I'm sure there's organizations that do that now. So I don't mean to disrespect any that are doing a great job and helping everybody. I can appreciate that so much, and that's how I grew up, and I love that, in service. And our friend that gave us the plants, they're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. She's got a lot of them. She's in our town, and she went through a lot of hardship recently, too. And we're all going through it. She's got 5 little kids and stuff, and everybody's going through it, and I just want you to know that when I tell these stories, it's never in a way like, oh, look at my family, because it seems that way. But they told me I was nothing, that I wasn't even related to them. They made this deal with the city in Batavia. And of course, those people are going to lie for each other. People that gaslight you will all be in it, the same group. And it's all the same group. It's the same group of people that had to get that deal going in whatever way it was. But even something that doesn't have anything to do with my grandmother's school that she started, it's like not worth a mention. It's the Malmy Day School in Toledo, Ohio now. And the Smeeds are my grandparents. So to be told that, it's not a like confrontational ask to say, like, this is my grandfather Patrick Ward. In that, if you look at it, she says there was nothing barely written about him. That's not true. There's plenty of records. The Genesee County Directory, 1815 to 1920 or something, 1965. He's mentioned plenty. There's plenty written about him, unless they scrub it, which they could do whatever they want. But that's not true. And so they set up America the way it is. And for whatever reasons and whatever you believe, it's a reset now. And what I've researched in these people and what they're telling me now about how little they did and how not important it was when they gave their lives for these causes and to set this up will be what will be for all the people that have come to take everything from all of us. Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're here to start a new life and have a good life. And I'm down for that. My family came from Ireland and Scotland. My grandpa, William Cahoon, was a prisoner of war after Dumbarton. So we all have these coming to America stories. But don't forget yours. Write it down, keep it. Because I lost so much being traumatized by what I saw happening to my uncle and my father. I got nothing from any of that. And I don't mean that I got everything in a mental way and a spiritual way and a heart way, but not even a flannel shirt. My father's favorite Pendleton shirt my stepmother couldn't give me. I mean, it was all just such an incredible setup. And people go through that all the time. You think they couldn't be doing this to me. They don't know each other. Come to find out, everybody knew each other, and it was all the same. So now when they tell me this, I cried a little bit this morning on my video. But I cry for the kids that are being told this isn't real, that isn't real. Because I'm an old lady and they're telling me that's real, and I got the receipts. I have things. I could do a whole exhibition right now if I had the place and if I had the finances to put it together and the help of an educated person to do that. I've got the research and the family and the development, but I don't know how to do all the things on the computer. I mean, I save my glasses and still, I don't know if you can see that. I was just thinking of this today, looking for them. I've got a new pair of glasses, but that's burnt from a candle that I was painting something with using hot candles, and I burn it, and I still wear it. And I've bought one pair of glasses in the decade I've lived here. One pair of glasses because I took care of them, and I was terrified with no insurance and nothing. The money that we have to get off of just to get a new pair of glasses. And they were so nice, they fixed my old glasses at Walmart here in Oregon. That's how nice the people are. Everybody is super nice. And where I grew up, this is what they tell me. You're nothing. You're nobody. And here, when I'm crying and saying I need my glasses and I can't afford them, and I mean, we can afford them, but I didn't want to buy new ones. I don't want to spend $300 or $400. There's no cheap ways, and I have really bad sight. Like I was hurt as a child. And my eyes, I need my glasses. It's very hard. I try to go without them all the time. Yeah, everybody should, look at the sun gaze, do those things, sun gaze, get out in nature, focus on the bees, and then focus on the flower. That's a good one for eye strength, each eye, because I have one really weak eye, and I've always been embarrassed about it, because it would go out when I was tired, but you look horrible. I could tell if I was really tired. Somebody would look over like, what are you looking at? So embarrassing. But it was that's from part of the program at Strong Memorial Hospital. They did that to certain lines of people on purpose. And there's nothing you can do about that. You just live with it, and don't break your glasses, and take care of your things, and, be thankful for everything you have. And the odd little signs. Hear this lady that came up with a name for California poppy, which I prefer to go with the native name before that, but it doesn't matter. Right now we're calling it the California poppy, and that's what I grow. And I make the best syrup you're ever going to have. You get sleep, kills pain, it tastes great, and you're not taking things from the physicians. You could grow this in your backyard. So that's why I do those things. But there's a little sign. This woman came up with it, and she went to my grandmother's school. up the line. She went to that school and then started. And here's the other thing, that where I'm from, Milburn is named in that. And I talked about Milburn in a previous video, that he was the head of the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo in 1901, and that his house was used for McKinley's. McKinley laid there after the assassination. He ended up dying there 9 days later. Teddy Roosevelt was in Silver Lake. He visited them as well before he went camping. And all this history is coming from where I tell you I'm from this area of Western New York, the Western Door. And this started from before. When you look at the Pan Ams, and that's Pan, the god Pan, the Greek god Pan is going to have a lot to do with that. But Milburn was in Batavia, married to a girl there, and then it's listed, and this woman found a few things. She said she worked a few hours on it, and I appreciate that. And it was so interesting, this little tidbit of here I had posted, said something about Milburn, that he was involved and that this area was all involved. And it was, and there it is. Here's the lady. She's got a Wikipedia page. It's on it's on my post on Instagram. You can see her page on there. And she wrote a lot of herbalism and stuff. She was saying what this flower is, what that flower is. Now, that's just repackaging the knowledge that they got from the natives, because my grandma, Smead, had great relations with the natives there. She had saved them. They were freezing on the road, and her place, that original school was across from Texaco Town, which is now Texaco Town, which if you look on Cahoon, wrote an article about that place saying that Sinclair gas was going to be up the road and it would be a war between the two of them. And that's at my grandparents' house. He didn't know his son would marry their granddaughter down the line, but he did when he wrote that article. So this at Texaco Town in Pavilion, New York, is a Smead family farm, and you can Google that, eBay, you can get postcards from it. They had a restaurant there for a while, plus the school, then the school moved, and they continued with that, and that's the truth. And I was there as a kid. I was there. They actually ended up moving into a smaller house on the property and lost the big house due to, like they said, bad financing. But what it was the gas company had sent somebody to read the meter at his house across from Texaco Town, which you can look this up. There's posts on mine if you see Texaco Town or any of that. Go to my Instagram. I've done hundreds of posts on this stuff. And they blew up the guy in his yard. The gas man came to Smead Farm, and when he was looking at it, it blew him up and killed him. Then they stopped the gas. There was things that were making people stop having gas to their homes. And the truth of it was it was actually more setting up the gas station across the way, Texaco Town, at that time. But that's the story behind the story. So you read the story just like they tell us this. Look over here, but something's going on over here. Oh, look at this. This is so interesting. Look at what this ball player did. He's doing this. Oh, look over here. This is St. Barth's right now. They're doing this. Stay looking in your backyard, because that's where they're going, moving right behind you all the time. They got you looking over here, and it's going on over here. But you can still find things. And that came to me the back way through research. And I learned how to research at Attica Prison to find where people went, where they might have taken these kids, where the places were, who was funding them, who was coming up with the money for these legal firms from the West Coast going to the East Coast and supporting, people convicted of crimes there. So I just use that in another way. And my grandfather did genealogy. We traveled. You used to have to travel. I'm saying you can look this stuff up now on the ancestry sites. I don't suggest you send in your DNA. I didn't. But if you have to and you think that's for you, then that's for you. But it's not for me, because I know who I am, and I was raised with my father and mother who were married, and they, there's not a question of that. But there is a cousin that showed up out of nowhere that they have his son. They have his son, and they put their daughter up for adoption. So how terrible. My family would have, I just feel like, we would have loved her so much. I wish she would have been with us. That would have been the auntie that I had. Just terrible. But she's a good lady, and she's fine. She's adjusted. And I hope she does well. But that's some of the things I learned, and I wanted to leave you with that. I'm not a sad person. I'm very happy. I'm so thankful. Look at this girl. She says, Mama. And I want you to be too. And don't let people gaslight you and tell you, it's not important and what you're doing and no one cares. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's movies and television and books we've read about other people's struggles, Jesus' struggles. And we read about that and we enjoy it, and it gives us hope and strength and maybe the way we'll get through it. So that's why I do it, and I'm hoping that there's more help coming and that it just gets better and better, because that little tidbit of Milburn was involved in that was right. I was right, and there it was. And she sent that to me not even knowing that she thinks I'm, some ding-dong secretary from a prison with probably the intelligence of a snail. Well, that's fine. Underestimate me. Don't ever care when they underestimate you. Surprise them with your brilliance, my loves. Surprise them with your brilliance. God bless.